Hello, everyone. I'm Peggy Hack, and I'm here with Claire Lind, and this is our workshop, Achieving Your Professional Development Goals, and we're so happy that you're here with us today. We're almost competing with the State of the Union address. Do you know that? I'm hoping that it's DVR'd at home, and so the big question is, will early childhood education make it as a topic of conversation in President Obama's address tonight? That's what I was thinking about, but I am going to actually now really think about this topic of professional development. I'm going to introduce myself, then Claire's going to introduce herself, and then we'll tell you a little bit about what our agenda is for tonight. I work here at WECA, Wisconsin Early Childhood Association. I am an outreach coordinator for the T.E.A.C.H scholarship program, but I am also work with the training department and do numerous trainings. Until very recently, I was a family child care provider as well, but I have retired from that job, and I'm excited to be here because I do consider myself first and foremost a teacher, and I think teaching and learning is a dynamic process, which is why I think professional development is so important. And Claire.
Hi, my name is Claire Lind. I'm a professional development counselor here at WECA, and I previously was a T.E.A.C.H scholarship counselor, so I kind of have a lot of that information in my brain as well. I've done a lot of work at nonprofit group programs. I mostly taught 4- and 5-year-olds and really enjoyed that, and am also enjoying this kind of next part of my career here at WECA. So really excited to have you here tonight.
So this is what we're about tonight. I'm going to just start us out by just kind of giving a big context of professional development, because often we kind of narrow the definition of professional development, and sometimes our systems help us do that, like Youngstar helps us kind of narrow our definition into, more about going to school and going to classes, and that is a big part of what we talk about. But we do want to give it a bigger context. So I'm going to talk a little bit about professional development and why. And then I'm going to put our professional development in the context of Youngstar, which is probably why a lot of people are kind of here right now tonight, is kind of thinking Youngstar is kind of driving the engine for professional development right now. And then Claire will give some more of the resources that we have available to support your professional development, and then we'll take your questions and answers. So that's pretty much what we're about today. So we already introduced ourselves, but we want to know a little bit about who you are, and I've never really done this before, but we have a way of polling that. So I'm going to ask you to take a poll right now, and we're asking it. We want to know who of all the, I don't know, we have more than 100 people on this webinar, and we want to know what your professional role is, just so we have a sense of who's here. So you'll see the poll, and it's asking, you have 4 answers, and I see people are answering the question of who you are. This is fun. Oh. Well, all right. How long does this keep working?
So 95% voted.
Oh, 96% of you have voted. Hey, that's excellent. Gosh, I like this democracy here. We get to vote even when we're taking classes. So 45%, almost half of you on this call today are working classrooms, are a classroom teacher or a staff in a classroom. A quarter of the people here are family child care providers, 23% directors or administrators, and I don't know who that other category is. Maybe you work for an R&R, or maybe you work for a training organization. But welcome, everyone. We're glad you're here, and it's nice to see the diversity of people here. So that was the easy question. Now I have a more difficult question. Don't put it up there. Oh, you got it up already. This question, we want to know how you kind of would describe your approach to professional development. And we're doing this by taking, giving you a multiple choice answer of a metaphor. So you have to kind of think kind of in terms of metaphors. The great thing about a metaphor, of course, is you can define it any way you want, and there's no right or wrong answer. So this is the question. When it comes to your own professional development, well, when it comes to my own professional development, I am most like, and you can see the answers now, an eager beaver, a reluctant dragon, an ostrich with your head in the sand, or a little bit squirrely. Wow, eager beaver's winning. Let's see if we get up to 96% again. All right. It looks like 96% of us have voted. Most of us are eager beavers. That's so great. A few reluctant dragons probably trying to think about where you're going next. So glad to see that there are some people that are a little bit squirrely about this and a few people who are, you know, kind of don't know that they want to hear about this yet, if that's how you're defining my metaphors. Thank you all very much for just letting us know a little bit about who you are. So I want us to start by talking about development. So here we are, early childhood professionals, and we know a lot about child development. And what we can do is we can figure out in what ways do what we know about child development mirror our own development as early childhood professionals. And I think that if you all can kind of put in your mind some of the things that you know about development, I feel confident that you know things like development is individual. You know, it's going to happen, it's going to look different for you than for me. It's going to look different for each one of us. We know from our work with children that it happens at one's own pace. And that means that, you know, some people are ready and move fast along this professional development track, and some people will take their steps in their professional development more slowly than someone else. We know that development means there's always a forward momentum, even though sometimes there are setbacks. Certainly when we're looking at children, we can see sometimes they feel like, oh, they know how to do this, and all of a sudden one day comes and they're struggling again. And it's a time where they pull back and say, oh, maybe I took on too much, and I got to step back a little bit, and then I'm going to move forward again. And we certainly know, because it's our job to be their biggest cheerleaders, that when we're looking at children, that their development really thrives in this atmosphere of support. I think that you would probably agree with me that our own development mirrors these very same things. When we're talking about children, and when you do things like model early learning standards, we are always putting children on a developmental continuum. You know, where are they from just learning something to being proficient at something? And that at any given moment, any child in our care is somewhere on a developmental continuum. And really the challenge is, how do I take them from where they're at to the next step? Not where do I get them today to where I want them to be someday, but where do I take them on their next step? And so we measure development as milestones, and we celebrate milestones. I think that's what's great about talking about milestones, is it gives us time to pause and celebrate. That child that baby who we see, who we know is going to walk one day, we celebrate when he rolls over and everybody's there cheering and happy for him. And I think similar for us. So I'm going to kind of, if I was with you in a room, I would share with you kind of thinking about a developmental continuum with you. But instead, I'm going to kind of just talk about an example from an adult perspective of a developmental continuum for us. And I'm going to take a skill that's not related to child care at all. And this is personal to me. A few years ago, I decided that I wanted to learn to ice skate. In fact, I didn't just want to learn to ice skate. I thought my goal was that I wanted to learn how to skate backwards. I thought then that would make me feel like I was a proficient skater. But I had to start where I was, and where I was somebody who could barely stand up on skates. So I had a long continuum in front of me. And I think about what did I need to kind of move myself along that continuum. The first thing I needed was a goal and a plan. I told you my goal. I learned after I was in this for a while that I had to reflect on my goal and modify it a little bit. But I did have a goal to become a proficient skater. And I did have a plan. My plan basically involved making sure I signed up for a class and that I committed to some practice. And then I thought, well, that wasn't, and that's what we do, that's often part of our kind of moving on this developmental continuum. But of course, I needed opportunity and resources to do that. I kind of looked back, so here I am an adult, I could say a middle-aged adult, and I grew up on a farm where there wasn't an ice skating rink anywhere to be seen. So I didn't have the opportunity at some time in my young life to learn how to do that. I didn't have any resources. The best I could come up with was sliding across a puddle on my boots, you know. So here I am. I have to kind of take advantage of all the opportunities and resources that are afforded to me. I knew that I needed some support, encouragement, and role models, and I think we see that with children too. I needed to be able to look at those skaters who could do it really well and say, ooh, that's how I want to be, I want to do that. And we see our kids doing that all the time, of looking at those that can do things well and wanting to be just like them. But I also needed to see the people who were right next to me, who were struggling with me, who were saying, oh, come on, let's do this together. Let's take each other's hand, whatever that takes. So that kind of support and encouragement and role models come from lots of different places, not just from those people who are already really proficient. And then I needed a willingness to confront obstacles. And certainly there are obstacles galore. In ice skating, I had to be willing to say, okay, I will fall down sometimes. I had to say, oh my gosh, I hate these sore ankles. I don't know why. I can't figure out what to do. But anyway, we have to figure out what the obstacles are. So I put these things to you because I think when we're talking about our development as professionals, it's this same stuff. We have to have a goal and we have to have a plan. We have to figure out where our support and encouragement comes from, and it has to come from people close to us that we have relationships with, that care about us and we care about, as well as those role models that are bigger than us who can point some ways for us to go. And there's always that teacher out there that you'll say, oh, I just wish I could be a teacher just like her, or I wish I could be a family provider just like her. And to find out how that happened to be and listen to each other's stories in that way. We have to take care of opportunity and resources. We have to find out what they are. And that's part of why we're doing this webinar, so you can know that there are opportunities and resources to help you move along. And we have to confront obstacles. I certainly know that we could have a list of obstacles right now, and I'm sure that each one of the 100+ of us on this call could probably identify a list of obstacles, and there would be a lot of similarities in our list because we know what they are. We know that there's often not enough time. We know it's hard to balance, you know, going to school and taking care of a family and working, and we know that our field doesn't pay us enough to do all this work, and there are obstacles and they are real, and I believe that, you know, in order to kind of move forward, we have to be able to name those as well. So despite all of that, I still believe that professional development is really important for each of us to do. As I said in my introduction, we have to keep learning in this field because we're teachers, and we have to be up on kind of what is it that is going to help us move forward, but it's also what's going to keep us fresh, what's going to keep us creative, what's going to make us want to keep doing this work and keep committed to this work. So as we were developing this workshop, we created this definition of professional development, a commitment to growth and lifelong learning that is unique to each individual. So what your professional development looks like may not be the same as what mine looks like. And we did refer earlier to some handouts that will be online. And I just kind of want to address maybe one of these handouts. Now, how do I get to this so we can look at it? I'm sorry, just taking just a minute, because we're going to have several handouts that will be available online at the same time. But there was one handout that spoke specifically to creating a plan. And I think that's where it all starts, with us having a plan. And so I hope up on your screen now you can see this, developing a professional development plan and the 5 steps. It takes time and a commitment to reflect on where we're at right now, where we want to go. It takes having some self-awareness, and I think that starts with defining what we're really good at. You know, with children and their development, we say, what are you really, how well are you doing this? And I'm going to build activities around what you can do, and then we can take you a step beyond that. But building on what we already can do and what we do well and what we like to do. A 3rd step, seeking outside input, developing some real concrete action steps to get where we want to go, and also have some long-term goals. There's some examples here of some action steps that you can see. And these are just some ideas. And there's some of the handouts that we're going to give you. We'll have some like planning tools, like maybe the best tool for you to use is you know, something that looks kind of like a lesson plan that's kind of set out like, this is what I'm going to do, this is the resources I need, that kind of lesson plan. Maybe some of you lesson plan like thinking of a web, putting yourself in the middle of the web and say, these are all the ways I can go. Maybe some way of just enhancing your professional development is journaling. Write down what you learn, what you need, what you want to learn from what you learned, what you need to know more about to take it to the next step. So there will be some tools that will be in the packet of handouts that accompany this webinar. You saw on the bottom of that page, it also said affirmations. I'm a big believer in being generous with affirmations, and you know, it's kind of like the child who makes a big step. You know, when you do something great, stop and look at it and celebrate it and give yourself some pats on the back. So that's one of the handouts that this handout that you're looking at now is just one of several that will be included with the webinar that you'll get tomorrow. Oh, where will it be? Somebody said, where will it be? It will be on the WECA website, right? We'll let you know how to access that for sure. So here's some of the things I was just talking about. These are some of the handouts that you will see. And I said that it's important to, you know, as you meet a milestone, then you have to stop and reflect. And for me, you know, when I was learning to ice skate, I told you that my initial goal was that I was going to learn how to skate backwards. But I modified that goal after I reflected for a while, and I decided my real goal was that I wanted to be able to go ice skating with my granddaughter. So I can now do that. I can skate and I can move forward. I still can't skate backwards. If I decide that's a goal, I'll have to do some more work. But I think, you know, as we stop and reflect, we ask questions like, well, what were the challenges that I got? What are the challenges that I'm experiencing as I'm pursuing higher qualifications? Or what resources and supports would be helpful? What didn't I access that I need? And where do I want to go next? So those are important to include in your professional development plan, to take time to reflect after your plan is in place. You've got a plan, you've been doing it maybe 6 months, or every 3 months, or every 6 months, you're going to look at that again and ask these questions. Before I turn it over to Claire, who's going to give you some more concrete around some of the resources that we have, I do want to put this in the context of Youngstar. So I guess here is a good place to ask, I guess I'm curious maybe, is your program participating in Youngstar? So this is another poll. Because what we're learning is that often, so there's just a yes or no here, often Youngstar is propelling people's professional development. I'm just waiting, watching the poll numbers rise, and I can see, and I'm not surprised, this is what I expected to see, is that many people on this call, their programs are participating in Youngstar, and that's probably had an impact on people's kind of pushing towards this workshop, towards figuring out what your options are for professional development. So it looked like at 89% of us are participating in Youngstar right now. And this particular workshop is one of the workshops that that Youngstar has supported and does support. So Youngstar has looked at quality standards in 4 categories, and you can see these on your screen now. These categories of educational qualifications, environment and curriculum, business and professional practices, child health and wellness. And for the rest of this time here, we're really focused on educational qualifications because that's our focus, and that's where we have a lot of resources to offer you. But what I can assure you is that all of those, the 3 other areas of of Youngstar standards, all will engage professional development in those areas. And so as you improve your educational qualifications, you're really supported in your efforts to meet the quality standards in the other areas as well. Some people question why such a strong emphasis on educational qualifications. I bet there's some people on the call that are questioning that right now. Why is it so much about credit-based education? We can have that discussion, and we have that discussion frequently, but what we know for a fact is what the research is telling us. The research is telling us that education is a strong predictor of higher quality early care and education, both education of the teachers and providers and the directors. So the research and the data kind of points us in that direction. The other thing we know is that in the research studies that show that if we give a good investment in early childhood education, that children do better, that the outcomes are better, that in all of those studies, the teachers in those studies were all highly educated. So Youngstar has kind of is using evidence-based practices to say these are where we're basing our standards. And this is not to say that a lot of your professional development, as you'll see on the list that we talked about, lots of your professional development will come from other ways. It'll come from mentoring in your classroom. Every time you try something new, you're developing professionally. Every time you take on a new thing like editing the parent newsletter or convening a discussion group around a topic in your center at the staff meeting, all of those things are going to lend to your professional development. And it isn't just about educational qualifications. We have to keep that in mind and keep saying that, because Youngstar doesn't keep that in mind for us and keep saying that. So whenever I'm with professionals, I'm going to say that, and I hope you remind yourself and those around you that improving our educational qualifications is one very important way, but it isn't the only way that we enhance our professional development. So here's one of a number of matrices that show what the educational qualifications are that Youngstar asks for. And I'm not going to read through this. You can read through it. It's probably something that if your program's participating, you have already seen, and it will be part of your handout. So, so I'm going to just leave it at that, and you can kind of see where your star level is and where you are at. So I am about to turn it over. The next slide is where do we start? It starts with considering your goals and creating a plan, and we are here to help you. So I am turning over to Claire Lind, who's going to talk, first of all, about our professional development counseling service.
All right. Thanks, Peggy. All right. So thanks for all that great information, Peggy. As Peggy said, WECA has, we house a lot of resources here that can help you sort of figure out where you're headed with your professional development. If you're not sure, we can talk through it with you. And so whether your professional development goal is to raise your Youngstar level, or maybe it's to learn more about working with the children in your care, or maybe it's both, the PD services team is here to help you figure that out. So this is a service that is free. It is funded by Youngstar dollars, and we're here to help programs, whether you're participating in Youngstar or not, to explore your learning goals and figure out what is the path that's right for you. As Peggy had said, we know that every person has a unique set of strengths and goals, and we're here to help you figure that out for you in particular. We're also here to help programs, so administrators who want to think about their program as a whole and maybe raising Youngstar level or educating staff and what resources are out there to help you reach your program goals. We're here for that as well. So we have one of the tools that we have on our website is a questionnaire. And you can access this by either contacting us, and we're going to have contact information at the end of this section, or you can go to the WECA website, wisconsinearlychildhood.org, and then you click on the Programs tab and the Youngstar tab, and then there's a PD service page where you can either download and print off the questionnaire, or you can fill it in online and then email it to us. So, but it asks a lot of questions about your background, different skills you might have, how many years you've been in the field, past trainings, past education, your comfort level with taking coursework or going to trainings. And it just helps counseling staff get a picture of who you are and where you're at before we talk on the phone. But if that just feels like too much for you, you can just call us directly, and again, that number will come up. And we can just have a conversation that way too. So let's see. All right. So one of the things that professional development counselors talk a lot about is credit for prior learning. And I'm going to talk about it in more detail later on tonight. But credit for prior learning is really about earning college credits for experience or learning you've already done. So it's really exciting, and we're going to get into details about that later on. We also share a lot of information about scholarship programs. And in a bit, we're going to talk in detail about the T.E.A.C.H scholarship program. But there's also other programs that we can help identify for you if T.E.A.C.H doesn't work for you. And then, again, we help you take maybe a long-term goal and break it into smaller goals so that you can plan out the steps you'd like to take to reach your goal. All right, so here is our contact information. And if you have any questions about the service, about what it's about, we do visit programs face-to-face. If that is a need and an interest of yours, you can contact us for that as well. Okay, so I'm just going to pause here and see if there are some questions that come up that will help clarify what we've talked about so far. And then if there's questions that I think we may cover by the end, we're going to hold on those. So don't worry, we're going to get to you, but it might just be towards the end. Okay, so here's a question. Does Youngstar take experience into consideration or just education level? And then there's a specific example about someone with a high school diploma with several years of experience, comparing that to someone who's fresh out of college with a 2- or 4-year degree. So that's a really good question. These are things that our staff talk about a lot. And so Youngstar really, the educational qualifications piece is really about credits you've earned at a college or university. But as I said before, there is an opportunity to earn credit for prior learning, which is credit for experiences you've had, experience in the field, and trainings you've maybe attended. And the idea of credit for prior learning is that if you already meet the competencies of a course, if you already know what's going to be covered in a 3-credit course, and you can demonstrate that, then you could earn those 3 credits from the college. So we're going to talk about that in a little while, but that's a great question. Someone's asking if we can post the telephone number again. That will be at the end, but let me just go back to it now. Here it is. Are we using mentors? Peggy, do you know much about, I know we used to have a mentor-protege program, and it's kind of...
We don't have a mentoring program right now. There's a desire to use mentoring. It's a really good question because we all know that mentoring helps. And when I talk to people, there's actually a lot of informal mentoring going on where people are supporting each other in a program. So as much as we can do that and mentor our colleagues, that is great. I know family providers mentor each other through their support networks, or teachers mentor each other when they're going to classes together. We desire more mentoring, formal mentoring programs, and there's going to be some experimenting with that, particularly with model early learning standards and pyramid model training, where some people are going to be trained as being mentors. And so piloting some programs in that way, but there is not right now any formal mentoring opportunities. I said, when I said one of the professional development things we can do is to mentor a colleague, and so I was really speaking about that informal mentoring that we all do, and that's been crucial to my professional development, I know.
Okay, great. Thanks, Peggy. So there's a couple questions about T.E.A.C.H, how to qualify for a bachelor degree program, what you need to do to earn a teaching license to teach 4K. So we're going to talk a little bit about that throughout the rest of the presentation. If we don't get to you, we'll come back to it. Or if you have a really specific question, please email or call us directly. That might be a better individual conversation. Someone says, I'm on Teach now. It's an excellent program. I highly recommend it. Thank you, Angela. Let's see. Some really specific questions about credits and how they count. So we can have individual conversations about those. But thank you so much for writing in your questions. We'll come back to them too. All right. So we are on T.E.A.C.H. So T.E.A.C.H is a scholarship program, excuse me, that came to Wisconsin in 1999, and it stands for Teacher Education and Compensation Helps. And T.E.A.C.H really has three main goals. The goals are to increase education by using a scholarship. As Peggy mentioned before, research shows that highly educated child care providers and teachers, there are better outcomes for children. And so that is a main goal of T.E.A.C.H, is to increase credit-based education. Also, another goal is to increase compensation. We know that in this field, we do not get paid nearly enough for the amazing and meaningful work that we do. And so with T.E.A.C.H, there are bonuses, there are raises attached to it, and we'll get into those details later, but that is one major goal. And then also another goal is retention. So we know that continuity of care is really important for children and families. We know that children have better outcomes when they experience a strong relationship with a caregiver. And so built into the T.E.A.C.H scholarship program is a commitment period. So we're going to talk in more detail about that. But T.E.A.C.H really is a partnership. So if you're a center-based provider or administrator, it's a partnership between your center, yourself as a student, and the T.E.A.C.H scholarship program. So we're going to go, some of the slides later are going to talk about requirements from each of the partners in this program. And then also if you're a family child care provider, it's a two-way partnership. It's between yourself and the T.E.A.C.H scholarship program. Okay, so we are going to move on to eligibility. Excuse me. So if you are a family child care provider, a child care center teacher, a center administrator, Head Start staff, or a school-age provider, you could qualify for the T.E.A.C.H scholarship program. The requirements are that you need to be in a certified, licensed, or legally exempt program. You need to work at least 25 hours a week in your program. And if you're teaching in a licensed school-age program, then you need to be employed there at least 75% of the time that that program is in operation. You need to have been employed at your program at least 3 months or be regulated in some way as a family child care provider for at least 3 months. You need to live and or work in Wisconsin. These dollars come originally from the federal government, but they're funneled through our Wisconsin state budget. And so it's the requirement to either live or work in Wisconsin. And then you also need to have a high school diploma or GED in order to participate in the T.E.A.C.H program. So I'm going to move on to where you can go to school. So there are 16 technical colleges in the state, and any of those technical colleges are places that you could attend to take coursework, and T.E.A.C.H could help pay for it. Excuse me. And then also the Wisconsin University system, so the UW system. Those are places you could go to earn credits, and T.E.A.C.H could support you. And then there are many private colleges, and as long as the college is based in Wisconsin, then it is a college that T.E.A.C.H could support you at. Okay, so we're going to kind of get into some really detailed information now about the different scholarships that are available. And what I'm going to do is go through each scholarship type. It's not going to be really, really detailed, but what I would encourage you to do is if you'd like more details about any of the scholarships that I talk about briefly here, please contact us. We have a lot of great information gathered. So the first scholarship I'm going to talk about is the credential model. So this is a 2-year contract on T.E.A.C.H, so you have 2 full years to complete the credential. And so there's lots of different credentials to choose from. And credentials are really a group of courses that are centered around a unified topic. So there's the infant toddler credential, the administrator's credential, the preschool credential, inclusion, leadership, program development, and after school and youth development. And so what happens is you take courses at a technical college or a UW that offers these courses. And then when you complete the courses, you actually go through a process in which you show that you meet the competencies of the credential, and then the registry actually awards you the credential. And so I'm just going to really briefly go through each credential. So the infant toddler credential is 12 credits. It's 4 courses. It's all about caring for infants and toddlers. And so this is a credential that it's one of the original credentials. It's been around a while. A lot of family childcare providers and infant and toddler teachers have taken this credential and have reported that they've gotten a lot out of it. So this is a really good one if you work with that age group. And then there's the administrator credential, which is 6 courses, 18 credits. And it's all about administration of child care programs. And so you're going to learn about supervision, operations management, financial management, the environment, best practices. So it's really designed for an administrator who kind of looks at the big picture of operating a program. The preschool credential is 6 courses, 18 credits. And it really focuses on working with 3 to 5-year-old children. And so you're going to take kind of an introductory class about foundations of early childhood, and then you're going to take classes about health and safety, about child guidance, about child development, and then you're going to take a course that covers some curricular topics, art, music, and language arts. The really neat thing about the preschool credential is that it fully articulates or transfers into the associate degree in early childhood. So it's a kind of a nice place to start if you are thinking maybe a long-term goal is earning your associate's degree, but you want to start with a smaller chunk. This is a really great option. There's also the inclusion credential, which is 4 courses, 12 credits. It's all about working with children with special needs or differing abilities. And so there's kind of an introductory class, and then there's a course about behavior and emotional challenges, and then a course about special healthcare needs, physical disabilities. The leadership credential, 4 courses, 12 credits. It's really for someone who is maybe a more seasoned professional, has been in the field a while, has maybe taken other coursework or mini trainings, and is looking to become a leader in their program and in their community. And so you're going to learn about leading in a program, leading in the community, what the disposition of a leader looks like. Excuse me. And so that is the leadership credential. Then the program development credential is 4 courses, 12 credits. It's really designed for maybe an assistant director in a program or a lead teacher who maybe leads a group of other teachers, maybe preschool teachers or infant toddler teachers. And the focus is really about inside the program. So you're learning about the environment and curriculum and things like that. And then finally, we have the after school and youth development credential. I think that kind of speaks for itself, but it's all about working with school-age children. And that is 4 courses or 12 credits. So I know I just went through a lot of information very quickly. But again, please contact us if you want specific information. We have course descriptions for every course and every credential. We have where they're offered. Just I want to say that there are online and face-to-face options for all the courses that we're going to talk about. So, you know, it's a good idea to kind of figure out what type of learner you are. And again, you can talk with a professional development counselor about that. So I'm going to stop and just see if there are any questions that might clarify before moving on. Okay, so there is a question about scholarships for graduate school. So unfortunately, T.E.A.C.H does not have the funding in order to support graduate school, that goal of earning a graduate degree. So that is something that we feel that if we were more fully funded, we could definitely support that, but at this point in time, we cannot. But if you contact us, we might be able to help you find some other financial aid options. So there's a few questions about payment and how that works, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But for real specific questions, again, please contact us. let's see, a correspondence course. You know, we cover any credit-based coursework based in Wisconsin. So again, contact us and we'll let you know how to get involved if the course you're taking can be covered. There's a question about recommending associate degree versus credentials. That's really a personal choice. Pursuing a credential first can give you some really good focused information about a particular topic or age group. But also not every course and every credential counts towards the associate degree. So please call us and we can talk you through that individually. Oh, good question. So family child care providers, are all these things listed? So what should we do? That's a really good question. It's very true. So again, it would be, what are you most interested in learning more about right now? I know that a lot of family child care providers take the infant toddler credential. I know a lot of them take the administrator credential because you're running a business and you need to know about running a business. Also, preschool credential is a great one for working with 3 to 5-year-olds. So call us and we'll help you figure it out and maybe steer you in a certain direction. Also, thanks Peggy. So also there is a family child care credential that is sort of coming together right now. It's being explored. It's not an official credential yet. Therefore, T.E.A.C.H cannot support it yet. But 2 of the 4 courses in this credential are part of the infant toddler credential, so we can cover those. This is at Fox Valley Tech. Yeah, I think that's the Fox Valley Technical Institute. So, or Technical College, sorry. So if you have specific questions about those courses, please contact us. Let's see. Okay, so there's questions about wages and funding and things like that. So I'm going to keep going, and hopefully I'll answer a lot of these questions as we keep going. All right. Excuse me. So another scholarship model that is available is called the 3 to 8 credit model scholarship. This is a really nice model if you are not so sure what you want to do and you're kind of maybe want to try 1 or 2 classes, but you're just really not sure how this college thing is going to work for you. This is a great way to start. You can start with 1 class, complete it. If you say, hey, you know what, I kind of like this, I want to do another one, you can take another course. If you take 1 course and say, you know what, I want to take a break or that was enough for me, you can stop at 1. You can use it to, if you're an administrator and you've hired new staff and they haven't taken the Intro to the Child Care Profession 1 and 2, they can use this scholarship to take credit-based coursework that will count for those 2 non-credit courses. That's a really great way to use this. If you need to renew a teacher's license and take your 6 credits, you can use this model. And you know, if you earn 6 credits on this model, then you'll get to that registry level 7, which is really important for the Youngstar 3-star level. We know that. So lots of different uses for this scholarship. There's also a limited option to this scholarship, which there's no raise or bonus at the end for the program, and then there's a different type of commitment period. And so for more specific information about that one, please contact us. All right. The Associate Degree Scholarship and the 9 to 18 Credit Model Scholarship. They're similar. They're both 1-year contracts where you commit to take 9 to 18 credits at a college or university in 1 year. If you'd like to, you start with the associate degree and take your 1-year coursework and you decide you'd like to keep taking courses, you can just keep renewing until you finish the associate degree, or you can stop at any point after successfully completing a contract. If you decide to do the 9 to 18 credit model, the difference is that the associate degree model can only support associate degree courses. The 9 to 18 credit model is something that if you don't really want your associate degree and you don't really want a full credential, but you just want to sort of take 3 to 6 classes in a year from different credentials, then this is a good model for you. And this can be done 1 time on this model. If you did the 9 to 18 credit model and wanted to take more courses, then we would talk with you more about what your goals were and help steer you in the direction of one of the specific scholarship models. All right. Then we have the bachelor degree scholarship, which you can use to earn a bachelor degree in early childhood education or an elementary education bachelor's degree with an early childhood minor. And this includes bachelor degrees that do and do not lead to teacher licensure. It can be either one. Some colleges do not offer a bachelor degree that doesn't lead to teacher licensure, and some do. So you can contact us, and we would know a little bit more about which colleges offer which program. Okay. So in order to qualify for a bachelor degree scholarship, you need to either have an associate's degree in early childhood education or have a significant number of credits completed. And so if you don't have an associate's degree, it would really be decided on a case-by-case basis. So I would say call us, and we can kind of talk you through it and figure out if you would qualify for this scholarship. But like the associate's degree, it's a one-year contract. So you're not signing on to complete the entire bachelor degree. You're signing a one-year contract, completing 9 to 8 credits in a year. You can take these courses at UW system universities or private colleges. For private colleges, we do have a cap on tuition, and so we can, if you want more information about that specifically, please give us a call. We can talk you through that. But that's kind of how that scholarship works.
Go to the money, please.
What's that? Well, we're going to get to the money in a little bit.
Yeah, I know. That's
okay. Sorry, we're looking at a few questions here, so just bear with us. This one?
Yeah, I don't
know. There's some really specific questions about different associate's degrees, how they would count, how other degrees would count. Those are really decided by the college and by the registry, actually. So call us and we can give you more information individually about that. Someone asked if you're already taking classes for a bachelor degree or associate degree, can you qualify? Yes. If you meet our eligibility requirements, you can apply, and then any classes you take moving forward could be covered if you end up being eligible. Are classes offered after working hours? That's a really good question because most of us work during the day, and if you're a family child care provider, you work a very long day. So there are night classes, there are online classes. Some colleges have special cohort programs where you take classes on the weekends. There's lots of different options for non-traditional learners, and that's what most of us are, because in order to qualify for T.E.A.C.H, you do have to be working at least 25 hours a week. So call us, we can give you more specific information about that. Does your hourly wage affect your scholarship eligibility is what I'm guessing the question is. No, we do collect wage information because we collect that for our funders, but if you make a certain wage, it is not going to disqualify you from getting a T.E.A.C.H scholarship. If you have an associate degree, will that include the preschool credential? So the preschool credential, the first 5 courses of it are all courses that are within the associate degree, but there is a capstone course at the end. Just like with every credential, there's a capstone course at the end. That is a course that if you already have an associate degree, you would need to take that class in order to complete the preschool credential. So you can call us for more information about where that course is offered. Just trying to get these questions in here. Do Youngstar and T.E.A.C.H work together? So, you know, the name of this workshop is how do we all work together, right? T.E.A.C.H registry, Youngstar. So, you know, we know that the way that educational qualifications within Youngstar are demonstrated is through credit-based education. And so Peggy went through kind of, when she was learning how to skate, some of the things that were kind of hard for her that she had to really think hard about and work hard at, and some people call those barriers. And we know that a big barrier for earning education is affordability. And so T.E.A.C.H, the way T.E.A.C.H works with Youngstar is that it helps you pay for coursework, and we're going to get into the numbers in a little bit, so that you can raise your registry level and raise your program's Youngstar level. Okay, so we are going to move on, and we'll keep checking out questions as we go. All right, so there is school-age coursework that is offered for those of you who work in licensed or regulated school-age programs. If you are a group leader, teacher, or assistant teacher in a school-age program, T.E.A.C.H can help cover coursework in elementary education, physical education, recreation, and child guidance. So the parameters are a little bit wider than a preschool or family child care program or all ages program in birth to 5, birth to 6, because we know that school agers are a different population. So those are things that T.E.A.C.H can help cover if you're a school age provider. If you're a site supervisor, coordinator, director, or administrator in a school age program, T.E.A.C.H covers the administrator's credential, which we had talked about earlier, because this covers the areas of supervision and financial management. Did someone ask that?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. The school age, I thought you were asking. Okay. Does school age include 4K? So a school age program is a program that is separately licensed to support mostly before and after school age care. And then summer full-time programs for school agers. So it's really for children who have completed kindergarten for a summer program and older, and then during kindergarten through, I think it goes up to age 12 for most programs. So that is not a 4K, that is not the same as 4K. I hope that answers that.
I think that 4K in a public school would be different than 4K in a community-based program, correct?
Yep, they're two different things.
But would, if you were in a community-based program, it would support?
Well, so the slide that's up on the computer, the school age coursework question, that is really for someone who's working in a separately licensed school age program. So not for someone, not for a program that supports children birth to age 5 and then school agers come after school. It's really for a program that's a standalone school age program. So these are the topics, or these are the degrees that could be covered if you're in a standalone school age program. And if you have more questions, you can contact us.
I think kind of maybe the question is that 4K, if you're working with 4-year-old kindergarten in a community-based program, you could take a different scholarship model. You wouldn't take the school age credential if you were in a 4K classroom.
Right.
If you were in a public school teaching 4K, you wouldn't be eligible for. Would you be eligible? That's a question. I don't know.
For T.E.A.C.H element? Yeah. So if you're in a, if you're teaching in a 4K community collaboration, like in a program, then you would be eligible for T.E.A.C.H. And if you're teaching in a 4K that's in a public school, it gets a little, there's no yes or no answer to that. You would have to contact us and we would have to talk with you about it, because some are license exempt and some aren't. So I'm not going to get into details, but it's not a clear-cut answer on that. So if you teach in a 4K that's in a public school, please contact us. We'll let you know. Okay, this won't advance. No. Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you, Andrea. Thank goodness you're here. Okay. Okay, the Regional Support Scholarship, it's a scholarship that it's a collaboration with the Celebrate Children Foundation. It's a unique model because it's only offered in certain counties that have found a private business to help supplement the funding. And so if you want to know if this is available in your county, please contact us. Typically, if someone applies to T.E.A.C.H who lives in a county that has funding for the Regional Support Scholarship, the counselor will talk to you about it. So that's something to know about that. Okay, so these are the scholarship components. So we're going to get into kind of the money and what WECA pays for, what T.E.A.C.H pays for, what you as a student are going to pay for and commit to, and what your program is. I'm going to go through this quickly because it's a lot of numbers. If you have specific questions, please contact us. So if you're a center-based provider or administrator, T.E.A.C.H is going to pay 55% of your tuition, so a little over half. So to give you an idea, a 3-credit course at a technical college is about $410. So T.E.A.C.H is going to pay about $220 of that. These are just estimates. If you're a family child care provider, then T.E.A.C.H pays 80%, because as a student, you always pay 20% of tuition. So the scholarship is also going to pay the majority of your book expenses, the majority of your credential fee expenses. It's going to pay for you to have 15 hours each semester of paid time to either attend class, to study for your classes, or to do what you need to do to balance your life and work and yourself as a student. So, you know, that release time is something that a counselor could talk with you more in depth about over the phone. You're also going to get a stipend of $75 each semester, and this kind of helps pay for your 20% of tuition that every student pays in the T.E.A.C.H program. And then you're going to get a bonus from T.E.A.C.H, and the amounts vary depending on which scholarship model you're on, but it's typically between $150 and $300 per scholarship. Okay, so what's required of you as a student is that you will complete your credit-based coursework with a grade of C- or better. Again, you're going to pay that 20% of tuition, which for a 3-credit class is about $100, $80 to $100. You're going to pay 25% of the books, 25% of your credential fee if you're on a credential scholarship. And then also a really important part is that commitment to your child care program. So whether you're a family child care provider or you work in a group program, the commitment is really key for children to thrive, for continuity of care. So that's a piece there too. And that ranges between 6 months and 2 years depending on the model. Then your program, so if you are center-based, your program is going to pay 25% of your tuition. So for a 3-credit class at a technical college, that's a little over $100 per class. They're going to help you schedule those 15 hours of release time so you can study or balance your life. And then they're also going to choose to give you a raise or a bonus when you complete your scholarship model. And again, there's an exception with the limited support option that there is no raise or bonus. Okay, what's in it for a program? So supporting on T.E.A.C.H, it costs money. It takes time to set it up and to manage it. What's in it for you? Well, you're going to have more highly educated staff. You're going to have staff that feel more professional because they're going to understand child development. They're going to understand working with families. They're going to feel really supported by you. And so they're going to be more committed to your program. And they need to remain employed during the scholarship period, so while they're taking courses, and then they complete the commitment period as well. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the C- or better for your grades. If you are an administrator and you come on a T.E.A.C.H scholarship, then within a year you need to offer a scholarship to a teacher in your program because we want to make sure that it's a balance between administrative staff and those working directly with children all day, that they're receiving scholarships. And then if you end up qualifying for the associate or bachelor degree scholarship, you are required to apply for federal financial aid each year, and your counselor will help you with that and walk you through that. Okay, so getting started with T.E.A.C.H. We need to figure out what our goals are. So again, that's a great conversation you could have with a professional development counselor. Talk about where your areas of interest are, where you'd like to see yourself, your long-term goals, your short-term goals. There are lots of things that constitute professional development. Not all of them are credit-based paths, but for you it may be a credit-based path, and so we can help talk you through that. You're going to find a support network, folks who can help you succeed in your goals. It might be family, friends, your center director, a family child care provider who lives nearby. That's really important for success. You're going to discuss your educational plans and your commitment with your supervisor. So it's really important to be on the same page as far as what courses you might want to take, what your plans are, where you see yourself in your program a year from now, 2 years from now, what you want to accomplish. Be sure you're ready to take courses. You know, each 3-credit course is 45 hours of classroom work, whether that's online or face-to-face. And then, you know, there's studying and there's review and there's implementation of the things you've learned. So just be sure that you're ready for that commitment, because we want everyone to be successful. Then, you know, you can contact us for a T.E.A.C.H application. If you have a conversation with the professional development counselor, we can send you that application easily, give you as much information as you need. And then you just need to return your completed application to us. Okay, we're going to pause for questions. Oh, what's the credential fee? Okay, so credential fees are typically $300. I don't work with the credential model too much, but I think it's about $300. And T.E.A.C.H pays 75%. Okay, I just finished taking a class. So if you just finished taking a class, we probably cannot help cover that because it's already completed. But any classes you take within the semester that your application is received in our office, as long as you're eligible, we can go back and help you pay for those. Is 15 hours of release time per semester or year? It's per semester, and it's regardless of how many classes you take. So if you take 1 class a semester, 2 or 3, it's 15. We know that that doesn't come close to the amount of time you need to take a class, to study for a class, but it's something to help you balance a little bit. The raises and bonuses vary. They're typically between 1 and 2.5% raise, $150 to $300. Oh, okay. What happens if an employee leaves your center before they complete the time commitment? So if someone leaves before their commitment period is up, then they go through a withdrawal process, and they are asked to pay T.E.A.C.H back for the amounts that we've paid for them for their tuition and their book amounts that we've paid. So that's what happens on our end, and we can have conversations with you as an administrator about different options for you on your end, as far as some programs have agreements that they have staff sign about the commitment period. There's lots of different ways to do that. So if you have questions about that, please feel free to contact us. What do you need to apply for financial aid? It's something you do online. And
she said why.
Oh, why? I'm sorry. Why do you need to apply for financial aid? Because the T.E.A.C.H funding has been going down here and there, you know, over the years, and tuition is skyrocketing. So it's something that we do to help supplement our funding. If you qualify for grants, which is money that you never have to pay back, that money goes towards your tuition and books before T.E.A.C.H kicks in. If you don't qualify for grants and only qualify for loans, which you have to pay back, that will not affect your T.E.A.C.H scholarship at all. So it's only the grant dollars that will help supplement your T.E.A.C.H scholarship.
You don't have to take the loan.
And that you do not have to take the loans if you do not want to. That's up to you. The grants you'll have to take, and then the nice thing is that it reduces your 20%, it reduces your program's 25%. It helps T.E.A.C.H further its dollars. Are there qualifications established to enter colleges? So that varies depending on which program you want to sign up for. Some colleges have you take placement tests to see which English and math classes you'd be going into, say for the associate degree, because there are general education requirements for that degree. If you're going into a credential, you typically do not have to take those tests. But you know, these are things we can talk to individually with you. Okay, if you're taking online classes, do you still get release time? Yes, because online classes take just as much time as face-to-face. Do we cover general education classes for the bachelor's degree? If you've already completed your associate degree and you qualify for the bachelor degree program, then yes, we do. Is T.E.A.C.H based out of Wisconsin or a national program? So we are the Wisconsin T.E.A.C.H program, but it is in several other states. It's originated in North Carolina, so it is across the country, just not in every single state. Okay, so there's some really specific questions about classes, about Financial aid, I would say call us for those answers because those seem really specific to your situation. Okay, this is a really good question. Do you have to decide if you are going for your credential before you start taking the classes and apply for the credential? And I think also apply for the scholarship. So I would say that call a professional development counselor. We can help you figure out sort of the order in which to do things. If you're not sure which credential you want to take, we can talk you through it and help figure out maybe where you might be most interested in starting. The T.E.A.C.H program, it does take about 6 to 8 weeks for you to actually be awarded the scholarship if you're found eligible after we receive your application. So if you're interested in T.E.A.C.H, I would say apply to T.E.A.C.H right away and then call us and we can help you figure out which program might fit you best. Okay, so we're going to move on. If there are more questions that we haven't covered or really specific questions, please contact us individually. All right, so credit for prior learning, we talked about it a little bit. It's earning college credits for learning that's already taken place or for experience in the field. And really there's a couple different ways you can do this. There's a 3-credit course called Credit for Prior Learning. It's offered online and face-to-face at several colleges. Contact us for that information. But what you do is you take a class about the college experience, and within the class you learn if you are eligible to earn 3 to 9 additional credits. So that is something that a professional development counselor can talk with you more in depth about, but it's really exciting, especially for those of you who have a lot of experience in the field. This might be a really good path for you. You also can earn credit for prior learning without taking the course. Some colleges will allow you to do this, and that's really about showing that you meet the competencies of different courses. Each college kind of has different courses that they'll give you credit for prior learning for. So please contact us directly and we can help you figure out the best place to start with that. And then just a little bit about the registry. So the registry is Wisconsin's system for kind of keeping track of the learning that you've done. And so, you apply, and if you have questions about the application process, please contact professional development. We can help you with that. But registry levels are based on educational achievement, and so it's a system that Youngstar and Reward use in order to determine your eligibility and your levels. So it's really important to keep your registry profile updated. Okay, so the one thing I want to point out on this slide is that there is a cost calculator on the on our website, on the WECA website, and there's the address right there. And this is a really nice way to sort of figure out about what a T.E.A.C.H scholarship will cost for you in your program. So I would recommend checking this out and sort of seeing what the payments will look like, what the costs will look like. Because sometimes we think that it's going to be so much different than it really is. So that's what I would recommend. But we've done a lot of things over the last year. We have college directories. We've updated the career guide on collaborating partners, all kinds of things. So these are just things that we're excited about that we wanted to share in this webinar. Okay, so here is WECA contact information. So if you have questions for professional development, for T.E.A.C.H, anything about credit for prior learning, you want more information, please call us or email us, and we're very happy to share more detailed information with you. So I am going to turn it over to Peggy to wrap up a little bit about WECA program and services.
Wow, so many questions, and I'm not sure we got to all of them, but I heard Claire say many times, call us, call us, call us. So what I want to kind of leave you with is this idea that WECA, the Wisconsin Early Childhood Association, is really a part of your professional development as well. Being part of a professional development, being part of a professional association, networking with other professionals is a professional development step. And so we just encourage you to kind of check us out. I know some of you, because I see some names, I know some people are WECA members, but you all have access to our website, so check us out. We are an affiliate of a national organization that does good work. We're a membership organization, so of course that means you have to join. One of the things that we can say to you is, as People who complete a T.E.A.C.H contract get a 1-year complimentary membership. But our hope is that you will renew that membership year after year and stick with us and be part of our network, because we know that we have a lot of work to do to make our profession what we want it to be. Other WECA programs, I mean, we talked a lot about professional development, consultation, and T.E.A.C.H. Reward is our compensation initiative, and so as your educational qualifications get higher, you may be eligible for reward stipends, which are just a little bit of a salary supplement. If you're a family child care provider, you could access our child care and adult food program, which is another resource for helping support your bottom line. We have an annual state conference and other training, and WECA members, when we have training that costs money, we often get, WECA members will get a discount. And I started out by saying I wondered if President Obama was going to mention early childhood in his State of the Union address. One of the things that we try to do is to say we need to invest in the professionals who do this work and in the children and in the programs that serve the children. So to know that we invite and encourage your membership in WECA. This is some pictures of our annual conference. We just have to do a little promo here and let you know that our next conference is November 13th to 15th. It's going to be in Middleton, which is near Madison. And as always, it will be great, I promise. So come and join us there. Then you can talk to some T.E.A.C.H people and other people in WECA. And that kind of wraps up what we want to tell you. I don't know, are there any questions that you see that have to get answered right now?
I'm just going back to the contact slide, because a few of you asked us to go back to that. So I'll leave that up for a little bit if you want to write that down. All right, let's see. Oh, someone said I was at the 2013 conference. Ooey Gooey Lady was awesome.
Great, I'm glad you liked the Ooey Gooey Lady. So, yeah, you might have questions about reward as well, and we would be happy to answer those. What we do want to leave you with for sure is this idea of, are we ready to go here? Are we done with questions, do you think?
Well, so what I'd like to do, we've got about 5 minutes left, is to just give you the sort of end registry information, and then Claire and Peggy will look back through the questions. And so if you've got a question that you typed in that you would really like answered, we will see who stays on the webinar and try to get those all answered now if we can.
There is one question here about what are our office hours. We're pretty much, you know, typical office hours, kind of 9 to 5, but people are here before 9, so I would say you'd be pretty sure to get somebody here between 8 and 5 most days.
Oh, someone said I missed what was said in the beginning about signing onto the webinar if there's more than one of us watching it. So maybe they're thinking about registry credit.
Yeah. Well, so let me just give the last sort of registry credit information. And like I said, then we'll go back to questions, but then people can exit the webinar if they would like to. So registry credit. Step 1 is you're going to get an email from me tomorrow with a link to a survey, and you'll need to complete that survey. I will pull the information of who I email that to from the webinar login record that's in GoToWebinar. So if you're sitting there part of a group, then you will need to find your group leader and look at their email and also click on that link to complete the survey. And once the survey is completed, you'll click submit and you'll receive a registry certificate. We then have to enter that information back here at the office, so it will take probably up to 2 weeks for your for the roster to be entered here. And then we'll also, like I said, we'll email the certificate to you. If you have any trouble with any part of that process, please just email me. You have my email address. This is Andrea from all of the reminders, etc. So I'm sure you got way more emails than you wanted. So I want to thank everybody for coming, and those of you that would like to leave, you can go now, and those of you that would like to stay on the line, please do so, and we are going to look back through the questions. Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank everybody. Before you go off, we want to say thanks as well. It's been great, and it's been interesting to do this without being able to see your faces. But somebody here said it was really cool on a cold night. We could be cozy in our home and get some training. So we appreciate that as well. So thank you, and if you'd like to leave, you can do that now, and we will look over these questions.
All right, so just give us a moment. Okay, so we're just looking at questions here for those of you who are still on the line.
Well, and Brandy, you asked what email. What I'm talking about is my email, which is amurray, AMURRAY, at wisconsinearlychildhood.org.
Is that one ready? Can you teach with other scholarships?
Okay, so for those of you who are sticking around for some of the questions, someone asked, can you use the T.E.A.C.H scholarship with other scholarships? So yes, you can. So this is actually great because if another scholarship helps pay something, then it extends our dollars further. So for really specific questions about how that works, please contact us. Okay. Some online classes I have taken say they count as a CDA. What does that mean, and how does it apply to education? That's a really good question. So many of the courses associated with CDAs are non-credit, and so typically I know that if you can send in that verification of the non-credit CDA courses or completion to the registry, it typically puts you at level 6 if you've completed the CDA. So that's kind of where it puts you, and then you would need to add credits in order to move up levels. So if you have really more specific questions about the CDA, please contact us. Okay.
For the administrative credential, that's a good question.
Which one, this one?
The administrator.
Are there any prerequisites for the administrator credential? Not that I know of. None of the credentials have any prerequisites. You know, the leadership credential, I think, is for someone who maybe has a little bit more experience and maybe has taken other classes, but none of them have prerequisites. Okay, does Youngstar take into consideration that your staff is currently taking college courses when they are rating your center? So the only way that college courses can be considered for the Youngstar level is once they're completed, and then that individual needs to send their transcripts to the registry to be added to their personal profile. So all that has to happen before it can change your Youngstar level. And then, of course, we know that there's 3 other categories, and you need to meet those requirements too. Okay, what is the credential? Oh, we answered that one. Let's see. Answered a lot of these. Can the 15 hours be broken down? Oh, she left, but maybe someone else wants to know this. You can, there's many different ways to do release time. You can do them in chunks of hours. So contact us. We actually have a tip sheet about ways to do release time. Okay, if I take the administrator credential as part of a master's degree, will T.E.A.C.H help pay for this? So, oh, it looks like Linda has left. But nope, we cannot pay for any master's degree coursework. And I don't know that it's offered as part of a master's degree anywhere. But if anyone has those questions, please contact us, because there are a few very unique situations where we can pay for certain things at the undergrad level, but it's very unique. So please call us. Yeah, we got those done. Okay, how do you get on the next level? Is it based on credit or credential? So I think you're meaning registry level, and it's based on credits and credentials. So, you know, to get to level 9, you can complete any of the 4 course credentials, or you can complete 18 related credits. So it's kind of both. But we can talk through which level you'd be at for what you've already done and what you want to do over the phone with you. Do you have to pay for the credits for prior learning? Yes, there is a charge. It varies from college to college. Typically, it's about half price, and T.E.A.C.H can help pay for that if you're on a T.E.A.C.H scholarship. Okay. The 2014 conference is when again and where?
November 13th to 15th, and it's in Middleton, which is near Madison. Some people just say it's in Madison. It's on the outskirts of Madison.
Somebody asked that we bring back Pathways this year, Tracy. We're hoping to. Planning has started for that. That's a conference that's been held in Milwaukee the past 2 years, and we are hoping it will be funded. It depends on the funding. I'm glad you liked it.
Someone asked, what can we do if we are having problems with the registry and getting proper credits? So that is something that you need to contact the registry directly for. Really, they look at transcripts, and if they consider it to be related credits, they will give you those credits, and if they don't, they will not. So what I encourage people to do if they really feel like they took a class that did relate to the age group you're working with or your role in the field is to contact them directly, 608-222-1123, and plead your case. Tell them, you know, this course was about the children I work with. You might be able to present them with a syllabus, but, you know, you can advocate for yourself in that way. Okay. Oh, you mentioned something about membership. How much does membership cost? I am a student and an employee.
Membership, it's an annual membership, so it's membership dues. For a regular membership, it is $65. And the $65, like I say, it covers, you know, there's some really significant benefits, particularly discounts on training and conference, but also an excellent professional journal comes with your membership, and the networking with both the statewide and your local affiliate and the national affiliate. So, so $65 goes a long way for professional development, professional dues. Student memberships are for full-time students, I believe, and a student membership is $48. I'm not sure exactly what is considered a full-time student. I think in university it's 12 credits, so I think if you were taking, if you could consider yourself a full-time student, they ask for a student ID number. That's how they verify student status. And then there's something called comprehensive membership that is, I believe, $110, and that includes publications as well. But I like that somebody's asking about membership.
Yeah. Here's a question. What if your center can't afford or can't offer you the 15 hours of release time? So release time is a required part of our scholarship program. If your program director or administrator feels like that would be really challenging, please welcome her or him to call us, and we can help figure out ways that to offer release time that'll have maybe the least financial impact on the program. So please give us a call. If I move out of the state, can I still use the registry? I don't know the answer to that.
Our registry is unique to Wisconsin. What's happening, though, is a lot of states are developing registries. And it seems to me as more states develop registries, they're going to have to talk to each other. So What you will definitely be able to take with you is your registry portfolio that will show what courses you've had, so you will have, the documentation. Whether you move to a state that has a registry that will use that or not is probably state specific. And it's a relatively new thing. Wisconsin is one of the more advanced states in terms of registries.
Andrea, a couple people have asked when the next webinar is.
Yes, I saw that. So good question. Yes, there's been so much interest in our 3 webinars this month that we will be doing some more. We're not sure when. So what you want to do is go to the training page of the WECA website. You can enter your name and email address, and that gets you onto our professional development email list, and you will get an announcement. We send those out periodically, usually about once a month, with all of our training opportunities. So be sure that you do that.
Okay. Here's a question. I'm a family child care provider, and my husband helps me once in a while. Does he need to be on the registry? He has all his entry-level classes. So he would not be required to be on the registry. However, if he wanted to apply for a reward stipend in the future, then he would need to have a registry certificate for that. That's what they use to verify.
Are you sure he doesn't need to be? If the provider is, he doesn't need to be?
It's not required. Sorry. Okay. Administration requires that you be an active. Oh, this person left. I think that's a question.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you take more than one credential at a time and still be covered on T.E.A.C.H? No. You need to choose the one that you're most interested in first and complete it, and then you could take another one after it. Or you could do that 9 to 18 credit model and take a few classes from different credentials. Does T.E.A.C.H pay your college directly, and then they bill me in my center? How does the payment work for the classes? So if you apply to T.E.A.C.H and 6 to 8 weeks later you're awarded a T.E.A.C.H scholarship, and then you register for the next semester and you tell your T.E.A.C counselor which classes you're taking, then yes, we can pay the college directly. If you apply to T.E.A.C either right before your classes start or in the middle of a semester, then you would need to go through the reimbursement process once you were deemed eligible for a scholarship. Is there a specific place to get the applications for T.E.A.C scholarship? So yeah, you can contact us. Right now on your screen you should see my contact information. You're welcome to contact me and I can give you those. They're also on our website, wisconsinearlychildhood.org. Go to the Programs tab, click on the T.E.A.C tab, and it should be along the right-hand side of your screen.
And we don't have online submission of applications yet. That's something that we hope to have in the future. Right now it would be just downloading the application, filling it out, and sending it to us.
Will WECA help with a student in college that is not working in a child care program? So for T.E.A.C, you do need to be working in a child care program in order to qualify. You can become a member of WECA without working in a child care program, but for T.E.A.C you do need to be. Okay, so I think, another question. I am a child care provider. I've received the T.E.A.C application. I'm ready to go. Okay, so there's some difficulties with financing the courses. So what I would recommend is wait till the following semester so that you can send in your application, be awarded the T.E.A.C scholarship if you're found eligible, and then we can pay for your classes ahead. So that would most likely be the summer semester then, that you could start taking classes. That way we can pay ahead. You don't have to pay and wait to get reimbursed. But there are some classes at some colleges that start a little bit later in the semester, so give us a call if you're interested in learning about those, because then we might have the time to pay for the class ahead. Okay, I think we've gotten most of them. So if you have more, please call or email me. I'm happy to answer your questions.
There's one there. We're going to take this as the very, very last question and still invite you. This doesn't mean it's the end of questioning. It just means the end of our time of answering the question. Says, do the scholarships need to be paid back? employer and program portions. The scholarship is a scholarship. It doesn't need to be paid back if you use the scholarship. The only time we would ask you to pay it back is if you broke your scholarship, your contract in some way.
Mm-hmm.